Hi, so I just want to tell you guys something about myself. My name is Andrea, and I absolutely love fashion. And I would like to say that I have a degree in theater, so that's something else you might not know about me. I took directing, I took theater management, I took playwriting course, I took I took like 5 different acting classes. So that was my emphasis actually, was acting. And then I took Theater History 1 and Theater History 2, which were very fascinating. Took a lot of Gen Ed, took some Spanish classes, because I was starting to try to go for a minor with that. And then I took my Intro to Costume History. That was one of my favorite classes. It was very fascinating. And today I'm going to bring to you some of the things that I can remember from that class, because I love fashion and I found some of the things that I learned really interesting. And when I say fashion, I mean I may include accessories as well, makeup. Not saying I will talk about all these things, but in my opinion, fashion can go for all these different categories, because if you count fashion as the overall look, because everything can go together, the makeup, the accessories, the hair, obviously the outfit, it can all go together to complete one look. So in this case, when I state the word fashion, I mean all of it. Said, let's get started. Marie Antoinette, 18th century. Why did women wear moles? A. Just because. B. To cover up imperfections. C. Duh! They were just so totally cute! XOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXO. Or D. The more moles you wore, the more beautiful you were considered. Gasp. Me. Take your final pick. The answer is B. To cover up imperfections. Okay, so the real reason the people wore moles in the 18th century was actually originally to cover up blotchiness or spots that would occur after drinking arsenic. Because, as we all know, they wanted to be as pale as they can be. Of course, they can't get as pale as me. They're just jealous. Anyway. But, so, that was actually the reason. They originally was trying to like, oh, what's that? And then they would try to cover it up. And it became a beauty statement. It was a trend that caught on. And eventually it got to the point where they would make heart-shaped moles and other sorts. And like, eventually people started wearing like things like ships in their hair and all this crazy stuff, and it became a point to where people would try to just outdo each other. Ooh, who can make the more extravagant thing? This is what I remember from costume history anyway. That's how she put it. She said people would try to outdo each other, and that's why the era was so extravagant. Now, another thing about their hair and how they wore their hair, actually they wore it up and they were very extravagant hairdos. I remember the teacher saying that it caused a lot of headaches, which is why I would not wear that. I would not be caught dead wearing that. If it's going to give me a headache, I don't care how much of a trend it is, I'm not going to wear it. But these ladies did. Gasp. Me. Well, they didn't take a shower every day back then. They maybe took one once a week, if I remember correctly. And they put this stuff in their hair to kind of like get the oil and everything out of it, instead of actually washing the hair. And you might also wonder, well, how can you sleep like that? I mean, I guess you could the way we do, but back then they would sleep upright, because they actually believed that it was bad to sleep down the way that we do, when now we know that it's not, but they believed that it was. Gasp. Me. also helped keep their hair in top condition. Anyway, so that was part of it. And as many of you know, Marie Antoinette was an immense influencer in the fashion industry. Everyone kind of followed her. Even the poor were interested in her styles and fashion. Unfortunately, they couldn't afford it, and from what I remember reading, that caused some problems within households even, where the husband's like, oh, we can't afford that, but the woman wanted it anyway. Yeah, that was an issue from what I remember reading back then. I did do some reading that was separate from costume history, and I remember that. And I remember things became more extravagant. We got to the point where there were panniers, and that was basically like, you know, their dresses were so long that you kind of had to turn to walk through the doorway. Gasp. Me. Those are just some random facts that I remember about the 18th century Marie Antoinette time period, back from when I was in costume history. Thank you guys all for watching my video. I had a blast. You all, talking to you all. Thank you so much. Over and out. Woo! Does my hair look okay? Does it look... Ooh.